But I think the main things is at the end of the day, volleyball is volleyball. It's in the same 9x9 court, and the rules are the same. So we is that on the back of your shirt?
Yeah, it's on the back of the shirt.
Beauty. A little free shout out for you. And it doesn't matter who's on the other side of the net. You need to still execute to the best of your ability if you want a chance to win.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 9x9, the best 81 square meters of volleyball on the internet. My name is Everett Delorme here in sunny and hot Toronto, and that is Mr. Rob St. Clair recovering from a 4th of July hangover in Chicago. Rob, is it as hot in Chicago as it is in Toronto right now? Because yesterday was the hottest recorded day ever on the earth, average everywhere. So is
really?
Yeah. Is it as hot in Chicago right now as it is in Toronto? Because it is spicy.
Yep, it's spicy out there. It's about 90 in freedom units, which is very hot. This is episode 76, by the way, which is perfect because America obviously gained its independence in 1776. So happy American Independence Day to my fellow freedom lovers. Yesterday, I had a very good day hanging out at Lake Michigan in Chicago. Happy Canada Day from Saturday to our friends north of the border.
Yes, exactly.
And it's nice. We have some volleyball to catch up on. And I think we can be honest with the people, Everett. Neither of us watched very much volleyball this weekend. So we're just kind of we're kind of looking at some things. We're kind of getting caught up just the same way you guys are.
Yeah, it was a little bit difficult being in North America, especially with the women's, like one going on in Korea, another one going on in Thailand. It was just really, really difficult to watch any volleyball. Everything was going on late at night. I have a job, and also it was a bit of a party time. So now we're going to be catching things up. The women's group stage is done. We know what is going on for the playoffs, and let's just run it through right here. The final standings: Poland takes that number 1 spot. They did lose to the U.S. Last week, but the U.S. has lost to China, cemented their first place spot. So the U.S. is going to take the number 2 slot. Turkey at number 3. Brazil kind of slipping in the last little bit there in that last week, coming in at number 4. China at number 5. Italy at number 6. Japan at number 7, and Germany at number 8.
And so we know the playoffs 1 versus 8. We've got Poland versus Germany on one side, Brazil versus China on that same side, and then the other side of the bracket, the United States versus Japan, and Turkey versus Italy. And yeah, like Everett said, the final standings. It was interesting. Last week we were building it as the maybe the spiciest playoff race we've seen in the VNL in the tournament's history in the last couple of years, but
it kind of just fizzled out.
Didn't really turn out that way.
No.
So what I think the 2 key matches, and we'll talk about it all, but when Italy beat Canada and when Serbia lost to the Dominican Republic, that basically took all the drama away because there was a chance that Germany was going to slip out. There was a chance that Canada could make it in. There was a chance that Serbia could come out of nowhere and make it in. There's a chance that Italy was going to drop out. But it's kind of been the playoff teams that we've mostly expected for the entire women's VNL. Serbia was unable to rescue their really slow start. They needed to have a perfect week 3, and they did not. And Canada came up just barely short as well. So, yeah, the final standings, the USA misses out on the 1 seed by 1 point. And then here we have the bottom 8. Serbia and Canada and the Dominican Republic all finish at 6-6. Low-key, really good week for the Dominican Republic, by the way. The Netherlands at 5-7, and then a whole lot of trash. Bulgaria at 2-10, Thailand at 2-10, Croatia at 2-10, Korea at a fat 0-12 with 0 points. But unfortunately, honestly, it is Croatia. Croatia is relegated. Goodbye, Croatia. Thanks for participating. Good luck in the Challenger Cup again.
Gracias por participar. Rob, let's start at the top of these standings here and break it down. I do think that one of the biggest matches that we did see last week was the USA's 3-2 win over Poland. Definitely want to break that one down. And I definitely want to talk about Poland because Poland is technically a challenger team.
Yes,
right?
They are.
They're technically a team on the bubble. This isn't a team, especially on the women's side, that we've seen as one of the powerhouses, but they've been fantastic through this tournament. Do we think that they are a legitimate team? Do we think that this is Poland's coming out party to the rest of the world of volleyball right now? Because they've been fantastic. And also, I just want to start this petition now. Poland should be a core team. Korea should be a challenger team.
100%.
This is what I want for next year.
100%. It's insane. It's definitely the first time in VNL history that a core team has finished dead last and a challenger team has finished first in the preliminary round. It is an amazing accomplishment for Poland. Magdalena Stysiak is leading the entire tournament in scoring, 242 points.
Yeah.
And that is a big number. That is just over 20 points per match average. That is crazy good.
I kind of liked how two of the top scorers, like two in the top five, one was Stysiak, the other one was Alexa Gray, both of whom kind of sat on the bench for the respective club teams this year behind other players, and both of whom had fantastic tournaments. So I know Stysiak must be feeling good about that result. But Poland just looked good all throughout, and we have to remember no Joanna Voloj for this one for this Polish team throughout this run either. That's big ups to this Polish team right now.
Yeah, they're gonna get potentially the best setter in the world back, maybe in time for the finals, and that is kind of 50-50. We're not sure if Joanna Voloj is going to be able to play in Texas in 2 weeks, but it's possible. It's not out of the realm of possibility that Poland could go into that playoff with and add the best setter in the world, and I mean, they already finished number one in the preliminary round. So yeah, Poland's really good. They had a great tournament. Are they a legit contender? Maybe. I think they I think that elite echelon of teams right now in the world, you have the US, you have Italy, but they've brought the entire B team this entire tournament and will continue to do so for the final. You have Serbia, who missed the playoffs, and then you kind of have Brazil, who I think is the most on the bubble of those elite teams. And then I think right underneath that you have Turkey and Poland. And of the teams that I trust to medal at VNL, I kind of like Poland's all-around game a little bit better than Turkey. So
I do too.
Yeah,
I really think that, and the one thing I think we need to recognize too is that Poland's a volleyball country, right?
Oh, yeah.
They have a great feeder system. They have a great professional system. They have everything in place to really succeed at this level, right? It's not like another team where they just have a couple of good players. You know that they're going to, like, even if Stysiak gets hurt, they just go to Smarzek and they still have quality over there on the right side, right? So right now, like, I'm rating Poland higher than I am Turkey, but it does add another elite team into the fold, and I absolutely love that.
Yeah, it's great. It's really good for the women's game, and it's interesting that a couple of those elite teams have not really put their best foot forward this VNL, that being namely Italy and Serbia, and now they have a European rival in Poland who is skyrocketing up the world rankings, and it's going to be a real threat when it comes to Olympic qualification. I think that's an important part of the picture here as well. So yeah, I like Poland a lot. I think they've got a great chance to medal at this VNL. I mean, think about their path. They just beat Germany last week. They beat them in 5. We talked about that match, I think, on last week's show. It was very, very good. So if they can get past Germany again, they'll get the winner of China and Brazil. And honestly, they could beat that team. It's not impossible to see Poland in the final, or in the very least the bronze medal match. I think that's pretty reasonable if they can beat Germany one more time.
Yeah, I fully agree. I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk, though. I know someone in the chat just said that is one of the trickiest matchups for them. I do think that if Heinen wants to beat any team right now in the quarterfinals, it's Poland. Absolutely. I absolutely think it's Poland. And when you look at the other two teams below them, China has been good, especially, that win against the U.S. To finish things out really, really proves that. But I don't know if they have the same quality as Poland. And Brazil is all over the place right now. They are just, especially this last week for them has been not great. Losing to Canada, obviously not super, not something that we'd expect from them. And
they're just stomped by Turkey 3-0, and that we can talk about that one later, because that lit the internet on fire. That was a spicy one.
It did. Yeah, we definitely have to talk about that one, and Santarelli's that mic'd up moment with Santarelli that I was so surprised that Volleyball World posted, but I absolutely loved it.
Crazy.
The drama of it.
So let's take a look.
Do you want to?
I think we should. Here, I got the graphic up for the week 3 results, just for like what teams finished with what records, and it was interesting. I think this is the first week, men's or women's, at all of VNL, where nobody went 4-0. no 4-0 teams in week 3 of women's, but there were 8 teams that went 3-1, including Canada and the Dominican Republic. But unfortunately for those 2 teams, it wasn't quite enough to get them in the playoffs. Germany had a really tough week. They had a really hard schedule, but they did get the one win. I think they beat like Bulgaria or somebody bad. Who was it? They beat the Dominican Republic, which is a decent win. It was good enough for them to make it in the playoffs. Croatia 0-4. They've been relegated. Korea 0-4. They are an embarrassment. And Thailand 0-4 and 0-12 in sets at home.
At home.
Yikes. Couldn't even win a single set.
No, that's not a good look for Thailand. And I know that they have some really, really good fans and a strong fan base, but that is a tough look for Thailand. And it really makes me question them as a legitimate contender at any FIVB championships moving forward. Like, is this the end of what we've seen has been a fantastic run for this Thai program over the past few years?
We kind of talked about it last week, but they don't really innovate. They don't really adjust. I think they are who they are, and teams have figured out Thailand. They're a little bit weird on offense, but everybody else is smarter and adjusts more. And I think I complained about this last week. I don't think Thailand is competitive enough emotionally. But I don't see Thailand as anything more than slightly. Well, they're much better than Korea, but at this point, they're just going to be a core team with some money and great fans that are just not going to be relevant competitively anytime soon.
No, I mean, I would see them kind of flittering at that bottom group. I almost see them as being one of the teams that could be potentially relegated next year as well.
They are a core team. They cannot be relegated.
Core team. Okay, yep. Well, I guess we'll see if that will continue, because that would be interesting. Imagine if Thailand and Korea are at the bottom and just both are core teams.
Yikes. So let's go back to the standings and talk about some more of these teams that will be going to the playoffs. I don't have that much to say about the United States finishing as the 2 seed. I mean, I talked about it on last week's show that I think if I said that if we were to get the 2 seed, I wouldn't be that upset about it. I would be okay with the draw that we would get from that, and I definitely stand by that. I really like the Japan matchup in the first game. I think we can win that one no problem because we lost to them earlier, having played the B team, and then we'll get the winner of Turkey and Italy's B team, which is probably Turkey, and I'm okay with that matchup as well, especially playing at home. So I think the U.S. is in a good spot. The win against Poland was nice. We actually did talk about that match in particular already on last week's show. And
you're right.
Even though we lost to China, we lost to China in 5. I'm not that concerned. I'm not that concerned about that, even though we did kind of lay an egg in the 5th. That wasn't ideal.
Yeah, Li Yingying was quite good in that one. She went 26 for 46 for 28 points overall. Catherine Plummer finally had her best game of the tournament with 22 points for the USA in this one. Do you think she features in the roster for Team USA in the finals? And what do we think that roster is going to be looking like for Team USA in the finals?
I have no idea. Our outside hitter position is so uncertain. I think everything else is locked in. Like just Wong Orantes at libero, Carlini and Hancock will be the setters. Drews and Thompson will be the opposites. I even think that probably the middles are pretty much locked in as they are. Washington, Retke, Stevenson, and Ogbogu, assuming she's healthy. But the outsides, I really have no clue. I have no clue who Karch will bring, and I have no clue who he'll start. So that's going to be very interesting. But I mean, this USA versus China game, if we had really needed to win this game, I think you would have seen Jordan Thompson. You might have seen, let's see, who started here. You might have seen a little more Karabayama, might have seen a little more Ali Franti. I don't know. I'm not that worried. But who our outsides will be when it comes to Arlington in a week and a half, I am very curious.
I do think that maybe Kelsey Robinson is one of the few locks on that team, and just in terms of what she brings in terms of leadership and ball control and being a lock. I don't know if she's necessarily a lock to start, but I would think that she's a lock in that final 14 looking at Arlington in a couple of weeks.
Totally agree. Definitely on the roster, but is she a starter? I'm honestly not sure.
Yeah, I mean, she was pretty good in this one, 17 points against China in that loss. So that's not too bad at all. So do you think the USA can take home the title in Arlington, or do you think that there's too much pressure playing at home?
I think they can win it. I definitely think we can win it. I don't think the pressure of playing at home is a problem. I think that if anything, it's comfortable, it's less travel, it's a great crowd, it's going to be huge energy, and like I said, I think last episode or 2 episodes ago, I think that the U.S. is the best mentally prepared team in the world, and I think they have the most resistance to external factors like pressure or the other responsibilities that come with playing at home. And I think that can only help this U.S. team. The question is, like, can they play good enough volleyball in a playoff situation? Can they get good production from the outside hitters? Can they beat other good teams' best lineups? I mean, it's more of the on-court stuff that I have maybe a couple question marks about, but the off-court stuff I'm not worried about at all.
Yeah, fair enough. Looking at the next team, Turkey, how do we feel about Turkey and their roster? Obviously, no Melissa Vargas in this last week. They still managed to go to 3-1. Their only loss was against Japan. How do we feel about Turkey, and are they a medal contender for this event?
Yes, they are. I think that Turkey will stomp on Italy's B team in the first round of the playoffs, and I think that Turkey with Melissa Vargas and Daniele Santarelli coaching against probably the United States in the second round, like that semifinal match is going to be a banger. And I could see it going either way. I mean, last year Turkey got to the semis and then lost at home to Serbia without Tijana Boskovic with a chance to medal, and they kind of blew that chance. And I don't think that they will blow that chance again. So even if they are playing for bronze again, I expect them to get up for that. And I would probably pick them. I would probably pick them to take bronze. Like if they get like a Brazil or a China or maybe even a Poland in the bronze medal match, I could definitely see Turkey medaling.
Yeah, that's fair. I think if there is any other team ahead of them other than the United States in that semifinal matchup, they would have a chance to make the final. No one has looked consistent enough to really impress me. But up against the U.S., I think that's just too tall of a task. They're too well coached. They're too deep. The USA is looking really, really good right now, and I just don't know. Although Melissa Vargas was there for their matchup against the USA, right?
Yeah, I think so. That was, what week was that? That was a little while ago. I honestly don't remember.
I think that was week 1.
That was back all the way back on June 4th. And yeah. Vargas did play. She came off the bench. Kara Kurtz started at opposite, and then Vargas came off the bench and still dropped 25. So, yeah, we've seen her. We've got some film on her, but the U.S. kind of B team that week was able to beat Turkey anyway.
Yeah, for sure. So I think that'll be an interesting matchup, but I would like to see Turkey on the podium, because especially like watching Brazil against us, watching Brazil against that Turkey in that Turkey matchup, they're missing some things. They really are. Gabby didn't look too fantastic, but they just don't have the firepower everywhere that we expect from Brazil.
Yeah, they really miss Ana Cristina. I think I brought that up kind of recently, and the more I watch them, the more I agree with that. Like, man, I'm looking at the score sheet from the Turkey match right now, an absolute revolving door of players. Can't figure it out at setter, which is very strange. Can't really figure it out at opposite. Can't figure it out at second outside hitter. Well, actually, this Mayara Basso girl, I don't really know who she is, but she started consistently across from Gabi, but wasn't very good. So, yeah, I don't really know what to make of Brazil. I think they're looking awfully fragile. I think they're in danger of not even playing in the medal round, because they're going to play China in the first round, and that really is kind of a coin toss to me.
Yeah, I fully agree too. I think China is pretty good, and they play a very steady style of volleyball that I don't think Brazil can handle too well.
That's true. Yeah, I think Brazil being a little bit of a roller coaster right now is a little bit strange for Brazil, and China just might be a bad matchup for them. So, yeah, that I think will be an interesting one, but I don't really see either of those two teams as a medal contender, regardless of who wins. I think whoever wins that match, Brazil versus China, will probably lose to the winner of Poland and Germany in the next round. Like, I honestly might pick Germany if they were to win over either of those two teams, because I really am impressed with Germany. I think they had a really good tournament despite a really difficult third week.
Brazil did lose to China to open up the VNL this year
without Gabi. I guess it's a little asterisk.
Yeah, absolutely. But like going through Brazil's results here, like whenever they played any of the good teams, like sure they beat a weaker Serbia team, but in five, they got
Right.
three donged by the USA. They beat the Italian B team in five, lost to Canada in five, got three donged by Turkey, three donged Thailand. Like there's nothing really in their results from this VNL that show me that this Brazil team is ready to win and be a contender. However, this is still Brazil. This is still Brazil. And if there's one team that's going to be able to turn it on just for the playoffs, it's Gabi and the rest of that Brazilian team.
Yep.
Like much like last year's championships, right? I think, if we go back, they played Japan in that quarterfinal match.
Yep.
I thought Japan should have won it, and still they went down all the way to the wire with Serbia in that final. So Brazil just knows how to win, and that's why I'm never going to discount them, but they haven't impressed me whatsoever throughout this VNL.
No, this VNL, I'm not convinced. But I wouldn't be surprised by anything at this point. They could get three donged by China in the quarterfinal, or they can go and win silver like out of nowhere as they sometimes do. The only thing that I guarantee will not happen is winning gold. Brazil will absolutely not win this VNL. There is no way.
The USA will make sure of that.
That's right, we will. All right, I don't think there's that much to talk about. Like China, we've kind of discussed them. China's identity is pretty clear at this point. Italy is a B team, and they're going to send the B team still to the finals. We know that for sure. And
I love that.
I kind of like it too. That team has earned it. That team got them here. I think they should get that chance.
Yeah, a great development for that Italian roster, and they're just going to be creating more depth over there, which is a lot more. Yeah,
scary
exactly.
For the rest of us. Japan, I think their identity is pretty clear as well. I think the USA will beat them no problem, and then Germany. Like I said, I really like Germany. I know they had a tough week 3, but I really like them. I like their 3 outside hitter thing. I like Pia Kostner's setting. I like their middles. I just kind of like them, and I agree with what you said. Heinen against the Polish women's team, I think is spicy, and
he's going to be sheeming.
Yeah,
he's going to be sheeming. So, and
I think that's my favorite. That's my favorite quarterfinal on paper is Poland versus Germany. I think I'm the most excited about that.
Yeah, I like that a lot too. I think it's going to be a good one. I think also with how steady and even that Polish roster is, like I think they've got good players everywhere. They're solid on the left side. They're solid on the right. They've got that 3 outside system going. They're really good down the middle. Weitzel has been fantastic. Kastner has been running a good offense, and yeah, they're just vibing right now. I like what I'm seeing.
All
right, so let's move on now, and I really want to talk about Serbia because
this
Serbian team just missing out on the playoffs. But is there cause for worry right now amongst the Serbian ranks? And is this just much more of an indication of how much of a magician Santarelli is?
I'm not that concerned for Serbia. I mean, they didn't get Tijana Bošković, their most important player, until week 3. They would have had to go 4-0 week 3. They did not. They lost to the Dominican Republic, which was a little bit weird. That is a result that might be cause for concern just in that one little bubble because Serbia's outside hitters did not play very well overall. But in general, no. I mean, they started off 0-4. It was the new with Guidetti and the girls who had been together for like a week, and they didn't have a good week 1, and they were kind of fighting against the standings ever since then. I think it's less about the numbers in like wins and losses and the results here than just kind of the level of volleyball that Serbia is continuing to try and build towards playing. They're obviously going to be a threat at Eurovolley and the Olympic qualifiers. That is no doubt at all. But I do think that it, like you just said, Daniele Santarelli is a wizard with what he did with this same group last year without Tijana Bošković to get them to a bronze medal in VNL. That is the difference. That is why Santarelli is very arguably the best coach on the planet for women's volleyball. And I think he makes a gigantic difference. And nothing against Guidetti, but anybody but Santarelli is a step down. I think that's kind of just a fact at this point.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And interestingly enough, that win for the DR over Serbia helped them jump like 2 spots because the Dominican Republic also, they beat China and they beat Serbia to close out this VNL.
Dominican had a great week. They had a really good week. This Gaila Gonzalez girl, the lefty, 26 points against Serbia, and I think she had something in the 30s in the China game. She was pretty incredible. Let me double check that. But yeah, we can talk about the Dominican Republic in a minute. But anything else about Serbia? Are you concerned, or are you kind of like me, where you think they're going to be fine later in the summer?
I think they're going to be fine later in the summer, but I don't know if they have that championship potential anymore. And I think they're a team that can vie for the semifinals, but are they going to be a team that we can see in the finals with an expectation to win? I don't think so. Not with Guidetti at the helm, and not without Santarelli. I think it's a lot to ask for them to be in that position. And there's a lot of good teams. Like, remember, Italy still doesn't have their starters. Brazil still doesn't have Anna Cristina. There's a lot of holes. Like Poland, like right now, as I said, I think Poland is better than Turkey. And there's a lot of me to lead to believe that, Poland is going to be better in the long term than Turkey, and Turkey might have to make some drastic changes. However, we know where Turkey's holes are. It's always on the left side. So is Karakurt going to get bigger enough? I think it was a mismanagement almost from Guidetti. I know where I'm going back to Turkey here or Santarelli by not using Karakurt the left side this week and continue to work her there. But just back to Syria, I don't know if just riding on Boskovic is going to be enough for them if they don't have that entire team play that was so nicely orchestrated with Santarelli.
I think that's the exact point. I think our friend Basil in the chat brings up a great point. How much they're relying on Boskovic now that she was back is a little bit scary, especially because last year Serbia was without Boskovic was so good, and in the World Championship, Boskovic looked like the best player in the world. But their outside hitters played great, Durcha at center played great, their middles played great, and now they have kind of reverted to just chucking Tiana a bunch of balls and forgetting about that supporting cast that really was good for them last year. So if there's one area of concern, maybe that's it. It's when you get the best player in the world back, you might have used her a little too much this week.
Yeah, maybe. And, over the course of a long tournament, like if you're looking at Eurovolley, that's a long tournament. If you're looking at the Olympic qualifiers, which is something like it's a lot of games in only, like, I think you only get 2 days off in the Olympic qualifiers. Like, it's a lot of games all at once.
Yeah, it's 7 matches in 9 days. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot to consider there. So I don't think they're going to drop off the face of the earth, but I am a little worried about Serbia. I won't lie.
Okay, so let's move on to the Maple Volleys, Everett. The Canadian women, their best VNL finish ever, 6-6, just barely outside the playoffs. Finished 10th. Played really good volleyball. They went 3-1 in week 3. That loss to Italy was the only blemish. Nice finish with the win against the Netherlands. Give us an assessment of the Canadian women's tournament. Now they get a little bit of time off before Norsika's and trying to maybe grab an Olympic bid later this summer.
Absolutely. Well, as you said, this was definitely hands down our best VNL. Last year, we kind of fizzled out in the last week with a chance to get to the playoffs. This year, arguably our best week was the last week. Even that one loss was a nail biter. I mean, we were down 22-18 against Italy in that fourth set. We're able to push it to a fifth. Unfortunately, couldn't pull away with the win. Had we pulled away with the win, we could have been in a playoff position. But I think there's a lot
that was electric. That was a great comeback. Canada led by a lot, then completely let it slip away, and then brought it all the way back to overtime. That block by Emily Maglio to win it, that was awesome.
That right there, though, Rob, is that consistency that we're lacking. Mm-hmm. Is that consistency not only game in and game out, but within the game, where we go on these fantastic runs and then we just forget how to play volleyball altogether.
That does happen a little bit with Canada. Yeah, that does happen.
It does happen a little bit. I think, just looking at it, it was our best result ever. Last year we finished 4-8. This year we're in 6-6. We're just on the doorsteps of the playoffs, and I won't lie, I am a little frustrated because I feel that the playoffs were within our grasps, especially considering that the two teams behind us in the standings we lost to. The Dominican Republic, that one I can kind of live with that loss. It's a regional rival. They finished with the same record as us. Sure, we had a better points, but it's going to happen. But to me, that loss to Thailand in week 1 that really, really hurt. Part of me thinks that, and this is in no way blaming her, but if Kira Van Rijk isn't going what she's going through right now, that we make it through, right? If she's there in week 1 and she's not having to deal with her mother passing, like, she didn't have her best tournament at all. She was not the Kira Van Rijk that we're used to seeing. Thankfully, Alexa Grace just stepped up. She was fifth in scoring with 231 points. She was second in attacking with 208 kills. So that's absolutely massive. Emily Maglio, you just mentioned, she was fourth in blocking with 35. There's a lot of good things happening right now. Good things right now happening with the women's national team. There's a little bit of consistency, like Hillary Howe was really, really good for Canada over the beginning of the tournament and then kind of fizzled out. But luckily, Andrea Mitrovic really, really pulled together. I think there's a lot of good things, but I would have liked to see this team in the playoffs just to push them to get into those pressure situations. Because we're at the point in with this team now where we can't continue to lose to teams like Thailand, right? That should be an automatic win. It should be a 3-0, or a 3-1. Sure, if we want to go to 3-2, it's fine, but we need to get the win over a team like Thailand. Like the fact that one of two Thailand's wins came against us, that hurts a little bit. But ultimately, I'm very, very happy, especially when you consider the lack of leadership on this team too, losing Jen Cross right before the tournament, that I know that hurt them a lot too. You've got 3 liberos who have kind of been used interchangeably, all of whom are still in university college, right? They're still playing in U Sport institutions. I'm very, very happy with this result, but I'm still wanting more.
Good. Yeah, I think that's totally fair. Canada now is getting to the point where our expectations for them are continuing to be a little bit higher. We're starting to hold Canada to a bit of a higher standard, like not losing to Thailand, like, being clutch, being consistent, showing that resolve and the poise in late set situations, and they're going to get there. I am a little bit worried about the Olympic qualification tournament because 7 matches in 9 days with a team that is not deep. Canada is not a deep team, and to play decent volleyball, you basically have to play your starters and pretty exclusively. Yeah. And so 7 matches in 9 days is not going to be easy for that. But world ranking position is improving. Going to get some points at NORCECA's. Olympic qualification very much is possible for this Canadian women's team, and I think that is a good goal and an attainable goal.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just seeing the growth from this team from year on year, making it, qualifying back in 2019, going through the bubble, going through last year. Love to see it. I'm continuously impressed by Shannon Windsor on the sidelines. Bless you. Who I love how she takes timeouts. I love her tenacity. I know at one point I was questionable if she was ready to take the helm of this team, and I'm really happy that I was wrong on that.
Yep. Well said. Anything else about, Dominican Republic and Netherlands, I think both deserve a shout out for having good week 3s. Both of them went 3-1. Both of them played good ball, but neither of them were ever really going to get in the playoffs. And then just a whole lot of bad volleyball. Really, really bad volleyball. We talked about Thailand. We talked about Croatia. Thanks for participating. Have fun again in the Challenger Cup. And we talked about Korea. Like, what are we doing? What needs to be done here? How can we enforce a better standard of volleyball top to bottom in this VNL? Because there aren't even any men's teams that are even close to as bad as Korea, even Croatia, Thailand, Bulgaria. Like, bad. It's really bad volleyball. We've got to fix it somehow.
I mean, Croatia was in a bit of a tough spot with all of their injuries. Bulgaria missing, a few of their top players like Vasileva now Tanasiewicz, whatever you want to call her. But Korea regressed from last year. Last year they won 4 sets. This year they won 3.
Awful,
right? It's awful, absolutely terrible, and it's a bad look. It truly is a bad look for volleyball that this is some of the top quality that we're putting out on the women's side. Something needs to be done, and I really hope that Korea is making the FIVB in volleyball world millions, like millions and millions. Like, I hope they're not only making 7 figures through the FIVB, but they're making 8 figures. I know that's impossible, but I really hope that they're doing something significant on the back end that we just really don't see, because otherwise, like, what are we doing here?
Yeah,
this is just gross.
Sure hope it's worth it to someone, because it certainly isn't to the fans watching this Korean team over and over again. Somebody was giving us a hard time in the chat earlier. I bet Everett and Rob can't name 2 Korean players. You're right.
I can't.
Why would I watch
matter.
a team that sucks that badly? Like, why would I waste my time? We have too much good volleyball to watch to worry about watching Korea when they're not going to win any matches.
There's
Like,
6 damn matches a day for a month and a half.
Get real.
You're telling me I'm going to spend my time watching Korea? Hell
Absolutely
no.
not.
Hell no.
And nobody should. Nobody should waste their time watching a team that's going to go 0-12 2 years in a row. Terrible.
Absolutely. It is terrible. It's a bad look, and something needs to be done about it. Something needs to be done about it. I doubt it will, but something needs to be done.
All right, so we already talked about who did what in week 3. I think we should dig into a couple of the fun matches since the last show that we did before we move on to the men's side. Let's see. So the last show we did was on Thursday, so we can talk about Friday, Saturday, and Sunday's matches. Friday's matches here, we already talked about Canada versus Italy a little bit. But other than that, I think the game that we should spend some time on is Turkey versus Brazil, because we alluded to it earlier. We alluded to some of the spiciness online between these two fan bases, and a certain quote from Daniele Santarelli that was said in a timeout that was totally spun out of context and posted on Volleyball World's Twitter. That was really something.
The fact that they posted it on like that, honestly, I'm actually going to applaud Volleyball World for that. Because they knew what they were doing. They knew as soon, like, I didn't even hear the quote, but it was like captioned, and I was just like, oh.
So what Santarelli was saying in the timeout was like Brazil does not have any quality,
which they didn't.
What
didn't in this match.
But what he meant was, and Santarelli on Instagram clarified this. He said what I was talking about was that in out of system situations, when everybody knows where the ball was going, Brazil's out of system offense doesn't have very much quality, and we can organize our block defense against this. And that's the same as with every other team in the world. When they're out of system, they're not as good as when they're in system. That was Santarelli's argument. But you're right. Volleyball World knew exactly what they were doing. And it's funny because then Volleyball World was getting clowned on for posting this by people saying like, oh, all you do, Volleyball World, is encourage, equality and sportsmanship and happiness and fun and flowers and everybody gets along, and then you post this quote like significantly out of context to really rile up the fan bases on Twitter. I just thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, but I honestly love it because at the end of the day, Brazil didn't have quality. They had a bad week 3, right? You're out there getting to 3 dong by Turkey, and that should be a winnable match for Brazil. And they didn't look good in it. They didn't look good against Canada either.
15% efficiency as a team.
Yeah. So yeah, it just looked bad, and Burkai's coming through as well too. Is that quoting only sissy part of character in supposed was shady as well, which I fully agree. I also found it funny. I found it very interesting that Volleyball World was posting Japan clips of Ogawa making that head save from the bubble from 2021, like 2 years ago, in the midst of VNL that's going on. And someone right at the top was like, you guys know that there's other teams going on here too. I would love to go through Volleyball World's Instagram and see how many posts are about the Japanese men's team, because they're just pandering to it.
Yeah, it's
and they know that the Turkish fans are going to get up in arms, but ultimately, like that's how coaches talk, right? And like Santarelli had to go on and be like, of course I respect Renan Delzato. He's one of the best. I absolutely guarantee you the Brazilian team and players and coaching staff and anyone within that dressing room for Brazil didn't give a shit.
Yeah,
they don't care about that. They don't care about it at all, because they knew the reality that they didn't have the quality on that day. And that's like when you're a team like Turkey, who's still looking to establish yourself against a team who was earlier in the week the number 1 team in the world in Brazil. They did drop down 2 because of their losses to Turkey and Canada. And in those moments, like, you need to make sure you step on their throats and finish the job. And if they don't have the quality, point that out.
Absolutely.
This is competitive sport. This is the best of the best. We're not here to be nice. That's absolute garbage.
Completely agree. I think there is way too much niceness in the women's game, especially. I think that these, like you said, these are the best athletes in the world. These are the best teams in the world playing a physical, emotional game. And the fact that everyone's just being all friendly all the time, I think, is a bad sports product. And I think it's more fun when there are things like this going on and the fan bases on Twitter are going after each other. And it's fantastic. I absolutely love it. I think the women's game could use a lot more of it. And like people blowing the drama out of proportion of what Santarelli said is just being over dramatic. And this is fun. It's fun when there are two good teams playing and they do not like each other, and they both have passionate fan bases, and the fan bases don't like each other either. It's awesome. It's what sports are all about.
100%. And you're right. It is Zé Roberto, not Renan Delzato. I apologize. I misspoke there. And just too many Brazilian coaching legends out there to keep them all to keep them all straight.
Statistically in this match, we do have to give Ilkin Aydin a shout out. I know people have been talking in the chat that she has been Turkey's best outside hitter this tournament, and I agree. She was 11 for 21, 48% efficiency. That's extremely good. So she looks like a starter at outside, but what are they going to do with that second one is the question that we're all waiting to answer. Is it going to be Karakurt on the left with Vargas on the right? Will it be just Vargas on the right and somebody else like Baladin or someone like that, and then bring Karakurt in the 6-2? Like, who knows? So I'm curious to see what they do when it comes to the finals. But yeah, Turkey was way better than Brazil in this particular match. I mean, set scores were what? 22-16, 22, like hour 15 minutes. Like, that's a 3-donging, and Brazil should not be happy about getting 3-donged by a rival like that.
Absolutely. And if you 3-dong a team like that, you should be able to talk as much shit as you want.
Absolutely.
You know, like that's like, and you should just take it. If you get 3-donged, you should take the shit talking.
Yep. Yes, you should. Not something that Brazilian fans are probably very happy about, but you're going to take it when you lose, or something that you're used to. True.
Or used to, right? Like, this is Brazil we're talking about.
All right, let's move on to Saturday's games. I mean, the only really significant one here was the Dominican Republic beating Serbia, which kind of ended a lot of the playoff drama, especially Serbia's chances. Otherwise, Canada ended their tournament with a nice 5-set win over the Netherlands.
Cool. Canada too. Gotta love that. Gotta love, winning games on Canada Day. And you know what? Just finishing off the tournament in that way, was really happy to see it. Was really stoked to see our girls finish off so strong with a nice win, finish 500. Love to see it.
Yep. Yeah, good for Canada. Good for the Dominican Republic. I think that was a big win for them over the reigning world champions. Just a whole bunch of offensive firepower, and Serbia just not particularly good. And also the U.S. beat Germany. That was a nice win for us.
Nice.
All right, cool. Then on Sunday, not really anything important here. Serbia beat Bulgaria in a meaningless match. Poland beat Korea. Turkey beat Croatia. Yeah, China beat the United States. We talked about it a little bit already. Italy beat Japan. Brazil beat Thailand. None of these really had any playoff implications, maybe a little bit for seeding, but the playoff field was pretty much set after Saturday's games.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Like, this was, like, honestly, Sunday was the biggest nothing day of VNL that we've had so far.
Yep, agreed. And it was okay that we were busy and it was on the other side of the world and we didn't really watch any of it. So nothing to worry about there. All right.
I was dancing away at Electric Island on Sunday. So that was fun.
So the women's VNL finals start 1 week from today in Arlington, Texas. And on our show next week, we will preview the quarterfinal matchups and dig into the tournament a little bit more. But the preliminary round is over. Congrats to the teams that made it. Goodbye, Croatia. Good luck in Challenger Cup. And I think that we might be able to move on. Is there anything else about the women's game ever before we take a quick break and then jump into the men's side?
No, I think that's about it. It's pretty much to be as expected, minus Serbia, basically. I think it's pretty much as to be expected. But moving on, guys, you guys have been killing it with that volleyball.store recently. You guys have been buying a lot of merch. Love to see it. Really appreciate that. So as always, if you head over to that volleyball.store, use the code SPICY, you're going to get 15% off your entire order. So make sure you go and do that.
Do it. Pick up some stuff. That 9x9 squared logo that Everett's wearing is great. And also, everybody's favorite segment, it's time to talk about Where's Daddy. Friendly reminder that Daddy Stankovic is hidden somewhere in the show. In every episode, I hide Daddy Stankovic, and whoever finds him and comments the timestamp of where he is in the main YouTube comments after the show is over gets a shout out the following week. So on last week's show, we were discussing that Croatia needed a miracle to avoid relegation. It turns out that miracle did not happen for them. But as you can see on the very left side of the photo here, kind of in the background, is a faded but still visible Daddy Stankovic as part of the Croatian coaching staff.
That one was awesome. I absolutely love
pretty
this
good,
one.
some pretty good
You
Photoshop
faded
work
it
on this.
in. The shading was good. It looks like he could just be someone in the background, just kind of peeking in. Love that. You did a fantastic job with this one.
Thank you. I have a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun photoshopping Daddy Stankovic every show. It makes me giggle. So our friend Devin from the Volleyball Coverage channel was the first one to find him, and
Nice, Dev. Nice.
Good job,
Love
Devin.
that.
Good job finding Daddy Stankovic. So somewhere in this episode, Daddy Stankovic is hidden. Maybe he's already showed up. Maybe he'll show up when we talk about the men's game here in a minute. But if you find him, comment in the main YouTube comment section after the stream is over, and we just give our good boy Daddy Stankovic a little bit of love that he so deserves. I mean, just look at him. Just look at him.
Interesting note here from Burkai in the chat. If Sweden wins Golden League, they will pass Croatia on the world rankings and send Croatia to the much easier part of the bracket. I wonder if Sweden will lose the Golden League final just to prevent that.
That's interesting. Is Challenger Cup seeded by world ranking?
I guess so.
Interesting. Okay, that is something to keep an eye on. But yeah, we do know the field for Challenger Cup. We just don't know the seeds or the matchups, and it doesn't matter because it's Challenger Cup, and there's still VNL to talk about. And on that note, Everett, are you ready to move on to the men's game?
Absolutely. Let's move on to the men's game, and of course, because we're doing this a little bit later, because of all the celebrations going on this weekend, and Rob doing VLA, we do have a little bit of catching up to do. 2 events going on this week. It is if you're in Europe, I'm sorry because you have Asia. Going on in Asia, in the Philippines, that has looked awesome. The fans there have been fantastic. And then one going on in Anaheim, USA, where the fans have been lackluster. So far, I do expect them to show up for the Team USA games, hopefully. But I'm not expecting huge crowds for other games.
No, me neither. So yeah,
Iran will get a good crowd for sure.
That is true.
They will absolutely get a good crowd, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Cuba getting a good crowd as well too.
And yeah, we'll see that later tonight. So yeah, on the men's side in the Philippines, we've got Brazil, Italy, Japan, China, Canada, the Netherlands, Poland, and Slovenia. And in Anaheim, California, finally, the United States are hosting men's VNL again. Argentina, Serbia, Iran, France, Germany, Bulgaria, Cuba, and the good guys, the United States, who kick off the tournament later on tonight. I'm excited to watch this. It's actually really good time zones for us in North America because we get the Anaheim games tonight, and then we get like the Friday morning Philippines game also basically the same time as the USA game. So it's kind of cool. It does suck if you're in Europe, so I do feel bad for our European fans for once. But it's going to be an interesting week. We've got relegation to talk about. We've got some matches that have already happened. We've got some roster news. How do you want to break this thing down, Everett?
Let's just start with, we don't have that much roster news to go to, really only 2 significant ones. So let's start with there. Poland, who we saw last night, bringing in another different roster with Janusz Slivka, Kaczmarek, Popczak, all back. Although we did see Zatorski play this morning as well too. This morning, last night, depending where you are. So that's interesting for Poland. And then looking on the France side of things, Toniutti and the Guff both joining the roster. Still no Angapeth, and I wouldn't be surprised. Like we're not going to see Angapeth until the Euros at least.
Probably, yeah, probably not. And roster-wise, everything else is kind of business as usual. So before we take a look at the matches that have already happened, I think a very important aspect, especially for one particular person on this show, is the relegation race. So we got 6 challenger teams. Slovenia and the Netherlands are not going to get relegated. There's no way. They are both playing good volleyball. They both could easily make the playoffs. It's going to come down to China, Cuba, Canada, or Bulgaria, who right now sit in that order in a ridiculously tight relegation race. Cuba and Bulgaria haven't played yet this week. China and Canada have. Both of them lost yesterday, but China actually miraculously picked up a point against Japan somehow. So, Everett, how are you feeling about this? What do you think needs to happen for Canada to survive?
Well, the first and foremost, the biggest non-Canadian match is tonight.
Yes,
Bulgaria playing Germany
at what is it? 8 p.m. Eastern tonight.
8 p.m. Eastern. You're absolutely right. I will be glued to my TV for that. Although a buddy of mine just invited me to go to a patio, so I might just watch it on my phone on the patio. that one, because if Bulgaria doesn't win that one, they have Germany, Iran, Serbia, and USA. I don't really see them beating any of those other teams.
It could
Maybe
Iran. Yeah.
Without Amin, that Iran, how Iran looks without Amin is going to be very, very interesting. But I do think that's a team that has enough quality to kind of do something. So that Germany versus Bulgaria match tonight is going to be the big one. I think if Germany can take care of business against Bulgaria, then we're looking good. Otherwise, it's going to come down to that last match. And I think it's still going to come down to that last match between China and Canada in the last match of the VNL.
It is important to point out, like Berkay just put in the chat, Alex Nikolov is not with the Bulgarian team for VNL. He is with the U21 team at the U21 World Championship. So
wow. I did not know that.
Crazy shuffling of priorities.
I did not know that. And my heart just did a bit of a sigh of relief. Because especially when I'm looking at this, when I'm looking at these three, basically Germany, Canada, and Bulgaria, the Germany-Canada game really came down to that middle battle, right? And Germany ate us alive in the middle. Destroyed. I know, because I've been seeing it way too much on fucking Crick Talk. It is like literally he posted it and Rob, you tagged me. It's like, Everett, your worst nightmare has come true. And I was like, yep, because he is gonna milk that for years, and I'm not stoked about that. But when you looked at when Canada and Bulgaria played, Canada beat Bulgaria up in the middle. Right? Like Canada won that middle battle. And without Nikolov, I do think that Germany has like a little bit more quality on the outside than Bulgaria does. So I am feeling pretty good about Germany's chances tonight against Bulgaria. But at the end of the day, for me, Canada just needs to take care of. I would love to see us. I really wanted to see us push the Netherlands last night to 5. Just getting that one extra point, being tied with China would have been amazing. Didn't get it done, but we really just need to beat China, just for our own moral and confidence sake. I want to see us close out the VNL with the win against China. Also, we can shut up all those stupid Chinese fans. I'm pretty sure they're just Chinese fans in the Discord to piss me off. You know who you are. So yeah, I really want to see us because if we beat China, we have 3 wins, and that'll be enough.
Yep.
Right?
Even with last year's chaos, you did beat China 3-0 in pools at the World Championship. So I think it is China. That is one of the very few matches all VNL that I think Canada might be favored. And I agree with you. That is a must win, regardless of what happens with Bulgaria.
Exactly.
Like you want your fate to be in your own hands. If you want some control of your own future in VNL, beat China in that one match. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. We just need to make sure that we can take it to China just for our own confidence levels, and then we can go back to the drawing board and prepare for NORCECA champs and the Olympic qualifiers. For me, Cuba is like I wasn't expecting Cuba to be in this position.
Me neither.
To be perfectly honest, I was expecting them to have a couple more wins in this, and so I wouldn't be surprised. Like they're going to be playing Serbia. I don't expect them to beat Serbia. I definitely don't expect them to beat the USA tonight. I do kind of expect them to beat Germany. Maybe
I could see that,
and I could also see them beating Iran without Amin.
For Cuba, it's all about how much effort, like how much do they care in a given day, and They have plenty of their fair share of excuses for when they don't play well, but they literally just played a stupid Central American tournament, like Caribbean tournament in El Salvador this week.
That was crazy.
Ridiculous.
Absolutely
that was ridiculous. Insane that their A team went to go play that stupid event in the middle of VNL. So
and that they played their guys. Like
insane.
why is
insane?
Like I did see Lopez playing libero at one point, and there's this one clip where he made like multiple digs, which was great. But why is Yant out there? Why is Herrera out there? Why aren't you letting the young guns go? Like it's just more mismanagement from the
worst federation in volleyball by far.
Yeah. And that's right. Cuba does not look like a happy camp to be in, right?
No.
Which which is going to be interesting come time for NORCECA champs and Olympic qualifiers later on this year. But realistically, I think this relegation race right now is between. But who knows? Maybe Cuba can lay more eggs like they've continuously done. Although here's my thing. I think Cuba will push USA to 5.
Really?
Because it matters to them. In the same way that they brought out their bins and they played their best game against Brazil in Ottawa, it matters to them, right? And I think they're good. I think USA is still going to win it, but it's going to be a good game tonight, Cuba versus USA, and they're going to push them to 5 just because they're going to be going off.
I hope so. I hope that we get good Cuba tonight instead of embarrassing Cuba. I would like more good volleyball to watch, but I don't really see it. I don't see it with all that volleyball that they've played with that stupid Central American tournament that they just had to go play. They have no way. There's no way they're going to make the playoffs. I think if they grab 1 or 2 points this week, then great, they won't get relegated. But I don't see it. I don't see it with Cuba. We've been waiting to see it all tournament. The only game they played well in was against Brazil that we saw, and that's it. So I don't really have very high expectations. But man, right now, who's going to get relegated? It's legitimately really tough to pick because look at how close everything is. If Bulgaria does not win a game, they will get relegated, obviously, with only 1 win right now. But if they do, if Bulgaria is somehow able to beat probably Germany tonight, is their best chance.
That's definitely their best chance tonight.
Then they would be at 2 wins. They would be at least 8 points. So on points there, they would probably save themselves from relegation. Then it would come down to Canada, Cuba, or China. So it's going to be a pretty ridiculous week if Bulgaria beats Germany today.
Who do you think? Are they going to go with Antonasov and Asparuhov on the outside?
Probably.
Karyagin. Because they've got Antonasov, Asparuhov, Karyagin, Penchev, and Bratoev.
Oh, they brought Penchev back? Man, yeah. We haven't heard from him in a while. You're right. Yeah, Penchev. Valentin Bratoev is much older. He's kind of a non-factor. Yeah, I could see it be Atanasov for sure, then probably Asparuhov, maybe, or maybe Penchev if they need more ball control. I don't know, man. I don't know that much about this Bulgarian team. They're not nearly as bad as the Korean women. I think that's fair to say about every 100%. Team in this relegation race on the men's side, but the only player outside of Nikolov on Bulgaria that I really like is Grozdanov in the middle. Otherwise, I just don't think they have that much quality anywhere.
Yeah, it is. When you look at no one on Bulgaria has scored over 100 points other than Nikolov. Nikolov has 126. Antonasov is the next best with only 78.
Wow.
It makes me feel good. It makes me feel great. It makes me feel great, mostly because I want to hang out with you in Ottawa next year for the men's VNL.
So if you're a Canadian fan, you're rooting for Germany this week.
Oh,
big time.
Tonight.
Both tonight and against Germany plays Cuba later in the week. And if Germany helps you out with a win there, that could also provide some insurance. So ironically enough, Canada had a big opportunity, laid an egg against Germany in Ottawa, and now they have to root for Germany the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, we absolutely do. Hey, if anyone has a Deutschland flag or shirt or whatever that I can wear tonight, I'd love to grab it from you guys.
All right, so let's talk about some matches that have happened. It is VNL Week 3 on the men's side. Matches have been played. Italy beat Brazil 3-1, pretty impressively. Italy has basically the entire A team, except at the last minute, they found out that they weren't going to have Fabio Balasso at libero. But other than that, this Italian team is pretty much the world championship team. Yuri Romano was extremely good. 16 for 31 with only 1 error. It's a big game. Romano finally showing up for once this VNL.
But it wasn't a big game, so let's applaud him.
Game, I guess.
It was just a pool play game. He's getting it going a little bit early. Good job, Romano.
Micheletto really good as well. 14 for 26, 46% efficiency, 17 points. Italy's offense just overall was super good. So nice to see.
Efficiency. Yep. 46% efficiency as a team is not bad at all.
Quite good. Alan Souza for Brazil, not very good. 5 unforced errors. Let's see. Onorato was okay.
15 points.
Lucarelli, pretty good on a little bit lower volume.
Interesting how they gave way more volume to Onorato there than Lucarelli.
Yeah, and Allen. That's very strange.
Yeah, and especially like he wasn't hitting fantastic, like 19% efficiency. I wonder if that's something that Brazil was working on, where they were like looking to target him a little bit more and work with him a little bit more, because
Well,
there's no other reason for that.
as
You
somebody
know?
just pointed out in the chat, Lucarelli did get aced 8 times. That's really bad and really uncharacteristic for him.
Lucarelli looking like Nikolov.
Ouch. It's a tough comparison there. I didn't watch this match. It was in the Philippines. It was last night, but good for Italy. Italy is certainly going to make the playoffs. A game that was pretty interesting though is Japan beating China in 5, and the way that they did it, like Japan completely blew. I think it was the first set. I'm going to look back to make sure I get the details right of this. The serve that Zhang Jingyin went on to come back. Okay. Yeah, it was 24-19 Japan. And Zhang went on it must have been, 6-0 run from 24-19 down to win the first set 26-24. So big collapse there from Japan with a chance to win that first set. But them struggling to kind of put away China, who at times, like Zhang Jinyin can do some unbelievable stuff. Like he's a legitimately world-class talent, but China's reception is just so bad, and their serving is so bad that like a team like Japan being pushed to 5 by a team like China just isn't a good sign to me.
But this is where Japan, you have all the weebs out there being like, Japan best team, no, Japan best team. They have been fantastic. And yes, they've got some impressive wins throughout all of this. However, when you look at their results, there's a lot of head scratchers in there, right? Like there's a lot of like especially recently, like all past 3 games have all gone to 5, going to 5 with Argentina, going 5 to China. They're not as solid as a team when I look at their results and look at how they're playing compared to the United States. And especially when you look at how they've just been rocking their guys the entire time, it is interesting. Although I do think that this might be, I think there's that aspect of rivalry between Japan and China comes into play here. And there's a little bit more pride, and you're playing in front of another Asian crowd. And so I think that there's those other things that come into play here for China that kind of boosts them a little bit. But Japan was still able to get the job done.
The savior for sure is Kento Miyaura off the bench. 14 for 20 off the bench in 2.5 sets is absolutely amazing. So
Is he like he's the right side, right? Is he giving Nishida a run for his money?
Yes, Nishida looks less than 100%. He has not had a great tournament. He just doesn't look as explosive as we're used to seeing him. And Miyaura, in every chance he's been to play, has been terrific. He's been really good. And maybe there is a question at that position now. Who knows? It might be Nishida's health. I have no idea. But Miyaura's look great.
And I also think that this is classic Japan, where they're always good on the men's side and the women's side. Remember, the women went 8-0 last year, and they went 0-4 in the last weekend.
That's right.
We always see Japan do well early on, right? We always see them execute well early on, and then everyone learns their game, and then they fail to make the semifinals.
They also run out of gas because, like some other teams, Japan basically plays their starters every single match, and you can't blame guys like Takahashi and Ishikawa for starting to run out of gas with all those jumps, all those swings. That is a team that is built to get slightly worse the more that time goes on, and when it comes to playoff time, they're typically just a little bit too gassed. So let's see. Japan this week has who? They have the Netherlands, they have Italy, they have Poland. That's honestly a tough schedule. There's no way they go 3-0. If they even win one of those games, I think that would be a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, I don't think they match up with the Dutch all that well, mainly
Agreed.
because the Dutch have quality everywhere. And they have a high level of skill everywhere, and they have the best arguably the best scorer in the world on the right side, right? So I would expect the Dutch to take that one. I wouldn't be surprised if Japan goes 1-3 this week.
Yeah, I wouldn't be that surprised either. So, yeah, they survived against China, but China getting a point is potentially huge for the relegation race. Also, we saw Argentina beat Serbia in the first match in Anaheim. Argentina's really good. I love this Argentinian team. Agustin Loser had 8 blocks plus 7 for 10 attacking and an ace, 16 points in 4 sets for a middle. I just love that guy. Can't say enough
You know
about
what? I'm not going to lie. It pisses me off that Argentina's good again. I thought, okay, they got rid of Soleil. They got rid of Conte. Finally, we're going to be able to start beating them. And
Nope.
you know what even pisses me off is that we got to know Polonsky and Vicentin in Ottawa. And I
they're so
like those
likable,
guys.
yeah.
They're so likable. This team is so much fun to watch. I love watching them play. They play with passion. They play with fire. They play the game the right way. And they're so skilled. This is honestly, I think Argentina, with their young guys coming up with Polonsky and Vicentin, how they have Kirk Kaitsev and they have Bruno Lima on the right side. Sanchez does well, even when like Sanchez and Hijado are very good, but you still have DeCheco. I think Argentina is a medal threat, not only at South American champions and VNL, but they're also a medal threat at the Olympics once again. Like this is a very, very good and a very well-coached Argentinian team, and I love watching them play.
Me too, and I don't blame you for being pissed off about that as a Canadian fan. But yeah, I really like Argentina. I really like them, and I'm excited to root against them when they play the United States later this week. But I think that match will be very, very good. For Serbia, they have Uroš Kovacevic this week, but we didn't see him at all in this first game. Let's see. Who played opposite? Luburic, negative efficiency, blocked 7 times. Ouch. Yeah. Ouch, ouch, ouch.
That is tough. Also, like I'm just watching like the highlights and stuff like that. Got to give massive credit to that Filipino crowd, man. I would love Rob next year. Let's see if we can go to VNL Philippines because I feel like it's a blast. I feel like they are just having a party over there.
That would be sweet. Yeah, I mean every Japan game is obviously going to be a huge deal in the Philippines. Let's see how many fans were there. About 6,000 fans for Japan versus China. That is pretty darn good. But like for Argentina versus Serbia in Anaheim, we don't even have a spectators number.
Yeah,
and I mean. Tough one. It was yesterday. It was the 4th of July in the afternoon in Southern California, and the U.S. wasn't playing. So I'm not surprised that nobody went to those games. France versus Iran later last night in Anaheim was a little bit better with about 1,300 people there, probably most of them Iranian, to see their team get 3-donged by France. But I'll make an assessment about the Anaheim crowd tonight when we see the U.S. play. See if
for sure.
People are actually getting their butts in the seats.
I'm looking at the attendance from the primetime game between Poland and Slovenia last night in the Philippines, and it's saying only 1,200. And I'm calling cap on that.
Oh yeah,
right now.
No chance.
There's no chance. There was no chance that there was only 1,200 people there. I'm not saying it wasn't sold out, but there was more than 1,200 people there for sure.
Figure out some accurate attendance stats. See if we can find those somewhere. So France beating Iran is not surprising at all. We saw Toniuti start. We saw Legoff and Chinese start. Good for them. Yeah, Iran is missing a handful of players. I guess there were a bunch of issues with some of their guys getting access to the United States. I don't have any. I don't know anything about that. I don't have any comments. I don't have. Well, I don't want to speak out of turn because I don't know the details, but
we know. I know a little bit of the details, having talked to some of the basically whoever is currently in the Iranian military was not allowed access to the United States.
Okay, that makes sense. There's no way.
Yeah,
there's no way an exception will be made for that for volleyball. No chance.
No, 100% no. Right, and that's just the unfortunate reality of it.
Yeah. So. Bummer. I mean, Iran is a non-factor. They're not going to make the playoffs. They're a core team, so they won't get relegated. So I don't think we should spend that much time talking about them. Everett, tell me about your maple volleys. Overnight, you guys played the Netherlands. You took a set, but it definitely wasn't enough. Namir Abdelaziz had his way with 24 points, 45% efficiency. What were your thoughts on Canada's performance?
Well, clearly I didn't watch this one. It was 3 a.m. In the morning here, and that was too much. Just looking at the box score and looking at the lineups. I mean, got subbed off in one set. He got set twice. I'm worried that he may have gotten injured or tweaked himself a little bit, because he only got 2 sets past 7 balls and then was out. And they brought in Melser. And then towards the end of the game, it looks like Cooper came in as well. So it does look like we kind of punted this game as well. Sclater got the start over Arthur Schwartz as well. Not much to say overall. I think this team knows that there's one thing to focus on, and that's the China match. There's one match to look at, and that's playing China in that last match. So I would have loved to have seen us push the Dutch to 5. But also Namir, when he's like this, 22 for 38, 45% efficiency, 2 aces.
Nasty.
He was nasty in this one. So yeah, I think that much like last year, we're just looking at those ones that will keep us out of relegation, which sucks, to be perfectly honest. I'd love to be in a position where we're at least fighting for the playoffs, but I think something has to be done long term. I think once again, just without guys like Lepke or Barnes, it's going to be tough. But we're definitely in a tough spot right now, and I'm just hoping and praying that we take care of business on Saturday night against China.
I hope so too, for Canada's sake. The other match that happened in the Philippines was Poland reverse sweeping Serbia. Sorry, not Serbia, Slovenia. Slovenia went up 2-0, and Poland stormed back to win it in 5. That was pretty impressive. We saw, let's see, who did we see? We saw Yamish. Welcome back to Elvis. We saw Biniak in the middle. We saw a little bit of Semeniuk. We saw Šlivka get the start. We saw a little bit of Bednors. We saw both Kaczmarek and Kurek. We didn't see Wilfredo Leon at all, but Poland brought it back. Bednor is really good, 13 for 24 off the bench. Though didn't pass all that well. Let's see, Biniak.
Šlivka to me looked really good. Šlivka was definitely the best Polish player on the court when I was watching this one this morning. Semeniuk did not look good, especially in serve receive. He got targeted 6 times. He got aced 3.
Ouch.
That was really not good. Offensively, he was all right. 6 for 16. I don't know what we're seeing with Kamil Semeniuk right now. He's got the yips. He's got the yips, and I'm just missing the form that we saw, like the Zaksa 2022 form that we saw with him, because it's hard to watch right now. But Šlivka looked very, very good. Looked very, very good.
I miss that. I miss Prime Semeniuk as well. Slovenia did not start Rok Mozic, but they brought him in off the bench. He casually went 40% efficiency, but it wasn't quite enough, it turns out. I don't have that many other takes about this. Both these teams are going to the playoffs. Slovenia has had a really good VNL, so they should make the playoffs no problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're also really popular in the Philippines. I
really?
think, yeah. Rok Mozic last year when they played there was a bit of a celebrity for those guys, so
that's fair.
Good for them. Yeah, The Rock is the man. I mean, we love him.
Yeah, he definitely is the man. And I mean, I thought like Slovenia came back to win that first set, and they were trailing by 3, pushed it back. The first set went a little deeper, 31-29. There were some lead changes. Slovenia managed to get the job done. They looked good in the second. I started falling back asleep towards the third, and was waking up intermittently throughout the fourth and the fifth. But I think Slovenia is a dangerous team for anyone right now, right? I don't think there's anyone, maybe other than the USA, who are going to look at Slovenia and think that they're easy. And I don't even think the USA can look at Slovenia and think that they're easy either.
No, definitely not. All right, so that's it for matches that have happened so far. Coming up later today in Anaheim. Let's see. So that Germany versus Bulgaria, we already talked about it. That's at 8 p.m. Eastern. So that's in about an hour, 45 minutes from right now. And then the United States versus Cuba is tonight. So the U.S. gets to play on home soil for the first time since the famous, rather infamous Chicago VNL finals in 18 or 19? I don't remember. 19, 18. Wasn't it? 18? Oh, great 18. Times. I was there, and it was still forgettable for me. Then we get Brazil versus the Netherlands. It's also like tonight in North America time, but it's Thursday morning in the Philippines. Canada will probably get 3-donged by Italy overnight, if I had to guess. China will definitely get 3-donged by Slovenia overnight. Then tomorrow we get Argentina versus Germany, Serbia versus Cuba, and let's see what else. Man, the times I'm looking at are a little bit confusing. So we don't have to talk about every match that's coming up. The U.S. has, I think we have Cuba, Argentina, Iran, and no, we already played Iran. I forget who we played this week, but I'm excited to watch us play at home. I think it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I think it should be fun too. I really am interested to see the crowds in Anaheim. That is really going to be going to be interesting, especially since what we heard that it's not actually the USAV who's organizing this event. It's actually a Volleyball World event that they took this over. So, you know what? I don't have much faith in the USAV, but I have even less faith in Volleyball World. So.
Yeah, I can't wait to. I know a bunch of people who are in Anaheim for this. I am not there. Obviously, I'm here in Chicago, but I'm really curious to hear from my people, my volleyball people that are there about how that event is actually going, like behind the scenes. Because I do really, I mean, I have to give Volleyball Canada a ton of credit because the more, like, having been in Ottawa the last 2 VNLs, I actually have a ton of respect and appreciation for how well that event has been run. And I'm not sure if United States, if USA Volleyball and Volleyball World in conjunction can put on an event of that caliber on American soil. I'm just not really sure. The USA roster this week, by the way, Kyle Russell is back, which is awesome. So we have 3 opposites on the roster. It's Ensing, Kyle Russell, and Anderson.
I don't know why Kyle Russell hasn't been given more shots.
So this summer he got married and went on his honeymoon, but I think generally he does need to be given more of a look, and I'm stoked that he's on the roster this week. I hope it's not just as a serving sub either. I hope he actually gets to play a game at opposite. Like, we play Bulgaria on Sunday. Throw Kyle Russell out there. He can absolutely beat Bulgaria. He deserves that for sure.
He's better than Haynes. He's better than Ensing. I like Ensing, but he's better than Ensing.
I also think he's better than Ensing.
Shoji posted a TikTok the other day about them serving, and Kyle Russell was by far the best server in the gym in terms of speed. Like, he hits the best serve on Team USA. He's big. He blocks well. Like,
also put him out there. Best mustache in the game as well.
Best mustache in the game. You're not wrong. You're not wrong at all.
The outsides, by the way, are Aaron Russell, TJ DeFalco, Thomas Jeschke, and Garrett Morgatutia. So no Cody Kessel, no Jordan Ewert, but we got Garrett gets the 4th spot this week, I guess. And Micah Ma'a is the second setter, not Josh Tuaniga.
Okay. Ma'a getting back on the board. Love to see that.
Yep. So I mean, we kind of, I think we covered it. I think we kind of talked about it. There are only a couple really significant matches that basically just it's really just that relegation race, because the playoff race is actually not that dramatic. It's seems to be pretty set right now. It would take a miracle for France to come back and make the playoffs. Maybe if they have a good enough week, they could sneak in over the Netherlands, but I doubt it. I think the Netherlands will probably get the 8th seed, and France might miss the playoffs.
France has Serbia, USA, and Germany, so I think they could go, and Iran, where they already got that one. So I think that they could go 2-1 there. Maybe pull out an upset win against the USA, but still we'll see. And then the Netherlands, which is really the only team that they need to. The Netherlands have Brazil, Japan, and Slovenia.
So that's not easy.
That's not easy. So I could see France going 2-1 and then Dutch going 0-3.
Yeah, then the Dutch would be 5-7. France would be 6-6. So yeah, they maybe would jump over them at that point. You say France plays Serbia?
Yes.
Okay, that's a huge one. Because Serbia is tied with France in win-loss and behind them by just a point. So,
and Serbia, if they win that, if they beat France, they have Cuba and Bulgaria.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So they could easily, if they go 3-0, because they did lose Argentina, if they go 3-0, Serbia could sneak their way in.
They could get to 7-5. All right, interesting.
But that's really, because once you go back past that, you got Iran, China, Cuba, and Canada all with 2 wins.
Yeah, but the Netherlands is in a good spot because they've got 5 wins, but they got 17 points. They have a handful of those extra bonus points from 5-set losses.
Yeah, but if France just wins 2 games, if France goes 2-1 and the Dutch go 0-3, points don't matter.
Correct. Yeah. So, the Dutch have to win a game. They got to beat either Japan or Slovenia, and they could beat either one of those teams. The Netherlands is good. That team is rock solid.
Yep, absolutely. And then Italy Italy, who's also Italy has Canada, Slovenia, and Japan. So
yeah,
and especially now that they have their full roster, that's a team to that I expect to win all those games.
Yeah, Italy's going to be just fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I think that's it. I think that's men's VNL week 3. Yeah, we already talked about that game. We will be back. Let's see, when do you want to do our next show, Everett? But like it'll be after Sunday's games, and women's VNL final starts next Wednesday. So maybe we can go back to Tuesday shows.
Yeah, Tuesday or
Monday
or Monday. Monday, actually, no. Monday would be best for me. It's a friend's birthday on Tuesday. We're going to the beach.
Cool.
So unless we want to do the show from me on the beach, actually no, we don't want that. You guys do not want to see me without a shirt on. That's not that's not a good thing. So let's go for Monday, and we can wrap up the men's and we can preview the women on Monday.
That sounds great. 2 other things to talk about before we wrap up the show really quickly, both in an American context. One is congratulations to Team LVC for winning the 2023 VLA title. They were so much better than every other team in Orlando this week. That starting lineup of like Schergen, Leeson, Marshman, Ramos, Evans, Wickens, and Vari, like that would be a good club team in most leagues in Europe. Like that Team LVC starting lineup that won this championship. They went 12-0 in sets. They were the best team there by far. So congratulations to them. The Flamingos have won 2 VLA titles in a row. They look really, really good. So congrats to those guys. I was there in Orlando. I'm just happy that we survived that event because I hate Orlando so much, but we survived. There was some good volleyball played, so congrats to Team LVC.
Yeah, absolutely. Big ups to them. Picking up some big guns at the end of the year there, so that's always fun.
Yeah, Nick Schergen's unbelievable, and they didn't really even need him that much. That was the great part, is that they Team LVC rolled over everybody they played, so good for them. The other thing is something I'm very excited to be at this weekend. It is the Wapaka boat ride.
One day.
You've got to, Everett. You've got to get to one of these. They call it the U.S. Open of Grass Volleyball. This is the 40th anniversary of the tournament. It's in the middle of nowhere, Wisconsin. It is my single favorite day of the year. Period. This Saturday is my single favorite day of the year. There are over 2,600 teams signed up for all the events across, I think, like the 3-day weekend at the Wapaka boat ride. So if you're going to be there, come say hi, come find me, say what's up. I'll be playing AA triples on Saturday, and then I'll be commentating all of the men's and women's open all the way through the finals. So I'll be on the mic for that. Yeah, come say what's up.
Is AA the highest one, or is Open the highest one?
Open is the highest one. So yeah, I'm in the second.
Open, AAA, AA, single A?
We don't have a AAA. Yeah, open, then AA. So out of system, the Worsleys are looking to win their 4th in a row, but they're not going to have Micah Ma'a this time because he's playing for the national team.
That will be a big omission there.
Yeah,
I mean, I know, wasn't it a couple years ago where Ma'a got injured and they just picked up another random dude?
That was 2020. It wasn't Ma'a. He wasn't there. It was Dalton Solbrig, who played with them at Hawaii. He got hurt. They basically plucked a guy off the bench and still won. But that was in 2020 when very few people were there. It was kind of a watered down field. But then with Micah Ma'a, they've won the last 2, and now they're going to have to try and find a way to win it without him. So I'm really curious to see how that goes. Grass triples is so cool. It's such an electric format. It's so much better than beach doubles. It's not even funny. So I'm a huge fan of grass threes, and if you're going to be at Wapaka, come hit me up. It'll be fun.
Ronnie in the chat, I don't get it. Rob Wapaka, yes. West Virginia, no. Rob the hater.
If you saw the vibe, if you saw the production, the scene that is the Wapaka boat ride finals, you would get it. And I think it'll be streaming somewhere. Look at Wapaka's website, maybe on their YouTube channel. It'll be streaming on Saturday, and those games are really fun. The crowd is insane. I'll be on the mic for the finals, so it'll be a really good time.
For the finals?
Huh?
Just for the finals?
No, really, basically the whole playoffs. Like as soon as my team loses, I'll go pick up a mic and pick up a couple beers and start having a good time. I'm very, very excited about it.
Rob, what you need to do is talk to those people at Wapaka and get us to be live streaming it for next year.
That would be fun.
Because I'll come in and just do all the live streaming for it. I'm obviously won't play. No one wants to see that.
You should play like Triple B or whatever the division is.
With who?
I don't know. Bring some Canadians down.
No, I'd honestly, I would just want to I would just be there to party.
Oh, that's the best part.
I wouldn't necessarily win a lot of games, but I would definitely win the party.
Hey.
Definitely win the party.
Well, we got to get you to one of these. Yeah, Luke, you're absolutely right. Grass triples rules. Beach volleyball is terrible by comparison. Doubles is lame. Grass triples is awesome. So check out Wapaka. I'll be there. Come say hey if you're there. But if you're not, enjoy watching all the volleyball this week. It's great to have men's VNL back on American soil, the first time in forever. I'm excited to watch us play tonight. I'm excited to watch Germany hopefully beat Bulgaria for Canada's sake in about an hour and a half.
Yes.
And we'll be back on Monday to wrap up all of VNL and preview women's finals, also in the U.S., which is going to be sweet.
A lot of volleyball going on in America.
That's right.
We're missing all of it, Rob. We're missing all of it. All right. Peace, guys. Have a great week. Make sure to join the Volleyball Source discount. Check out thatvolleyball.store. And if you're at Wapaka this weekend, give Rob a titty twister.
Yeah. Take some drunk selfies at Wapaka with our Discord members. That'll be fun.
All right. Peace, guys. Have a great week. Stay cool because it's a hot one out there.